One of the most hated tags in the community is NTR, and I understand. I get it. No one wants their girlfriend or wife taken by some sleazy guy who just happens to be better at sex, better looking, and better at communication. After all, you're just a nerdy anime fan who works for a black company and is gone 80 hours a week. It's not fair that you work so hard to provide for your 2D waifu, only to have someone come along and defile her repeatedly, no matter how much she actually likes it. Welcome once again to Musings by Danon. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Danon. I'm currently reading over 600 manga and light novels, and my two favorite genres are fantasy and romance. So, on this channel, we talk a lot about both of those genres, but we tend to look more into story structure and tropes rather than how cool the fight scenes are, or how great the animation or artwork is. Which brings me to the subject of today's video. NTR is for women, so deal with it. But before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and it's free. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. A few months ago, I started watching a podcast run by a bunch of Gyarus. While it is not safe for work, it is a fun series with cute VTuber waifus, so you should check it out. They talk a lot about H tags and certain cultured manga that I won't be discussing in specific here, but I will leave a link to their channel below. I also wanted to talk about their March podcast, specifically their discussion of NTR versus wholesome. That podcast was what cemented the idea that NTR is for women. That, along with Sid Snap's obsession. To start, let's discuss what NTR is and isn't. NTR is short form for Netorare, a Japanese word that basically means cuckolding. Cuckolding is the fetish of enjoying watching your loved one engage in sexual activities with others. However, NTR has a negative connotation and a massive shame aspect attached to it. Like, you know, the sad boner meme. Someone with an NTR fetish is excited by their wife having sex with other men, but also ashamed and guilty about their excitement. The thing is, the women in these stories tend to start enjoying it. Sometimes they hate it at first, but eventually they embrace their desires and have fun with the situation. And I think I know the reason why. People are good at what they practice, which means if you're a husband who works in front of a computer all day compiling spreadsheets, you become very good at using Excel and organizing columns of data. But if you're a pickup artist who regularly has sex multiple times a day and has been doing so for years, you're going to get very good at having sex. This is my personal opinion, but it is backed up by science, so if I'm wrong, feel free to let me know in the comments. When a woman who's been having sex with her husband infrequently because he's too exhausted to perform his nightly duties, suddenly has the satisfaction of experiencing multiple orgasms for the first time in her life, well, of course she's going to enjoy it, whether she admits it or not. Now, there is a bit of the SA aspect in NTR stories, and I think that some NTR tags are mislabeled and shouldn't be called NTR. Regardless, it is important to remember that these aren't real stories. They're fantasies. And sometimes women just want a big strong man to take charge and ravage them. Don't believe me? Where do you think romance novels got the nickname bodice rippers from? Now, NTR stories are normally about women being satisfied by a new lover or group of lovers, but sometimes it is the man in the relationship who is stolen away. Maybe a strong woman comes along who dominates him and makes him feel things he hasn't felt in a long time. Maybe she's just much better at sex. These are referred to as reverse NTR, which brings us to the subject of today's video. I Like You Who Can Have Sex With Anyone is an erotic manga about a high school boy losing his virginity to his crush. Goto has had a crush on Agawa since he started high school. And who wouldn't? She's cute, outgoing, fashionable. What's not to like? They're on the library committee together and he is happy just to sit next to her. Well, one day, on his way to school, he sees her having sex with a boy on the baseball team and is shocked. His whole world is turned upside down. He's been getting to know Agawa, and sure, she's a bit more erotic than he's comfortable with. After all, she likes wearing her skirt short and showing off her panties. In fact, she's not worried about people seeing her panties at all. See how cute they are? They should be seen. But she's not just a lewd girl, she's also a good girl who helps out around her house. Goto discovers that Agawa helps her mom with the cooking and is impressed. After all, his parents handle all of his chores, so he doesn't know how to do anything. While explaining his reaction to seeing his crush getting railed to his friend, that same friend pulls out photos of Agawa leaving a love hotel with a bunch of different guys. As it turns out, she's a bit of a slut. His friend explains that this is good news and he should feel happy. After all, if she'll have sex with anyone, that means there's a chance Goto will get laid as well. Goto doesn't know how to process this information. After all, he wants her all to himself. He doesn't just want to have sex with Agawa, he wants her to be his girlfriend. Ignore the erection. Later that day, Goto was bullied into cleaning the classroom by himself. His classmates leave to go play, but then Agawa shows up. She decides to stay and help him out. Why is she being so nice to him? Because she's a Gyaru, of course. Goto realizes it doesn't matter who she's having sex with. That wasn't why he fell in love with her. He fell in love with her because of her personality. She's always helping out those around her, always cheerful, and is a good person. But she is someone who enjoys having sex. A lot of sex. She wants to stop having sex at school, and she's glad that if someone saw her, it was Goto and not a teacher. Goto works up the courage to ask her if she has sex with anyone, to which she replies that yes, she's a slut. You see, she loves sex. It feels good. By the way, do you want to do it? Wait, what? What did she just say? I couldn't have heard her right. But then Agawa asks the one question which is kryptonite to teenage boys, at least when it comes from a pretty girl. Want to have sex? Now, all of that was just the first chapter. I do need to cover events from the later chapters in order for this to all make sense, but I did want to throw up a spoiler warning. If you want, go catch up on the manga and then come finish this video. No, there's not a link. Google it. You should be able to find it. Here's the cover, so you can know what to look for. You're back? Okay, good. Here we go. I won't go into sweaty details, but as I said earlier, this is an erotica. Goto loses his virginity and even has sex with Agawa many times afterwards. In fact, he even does his best to monopolize Agawa, preventing her from meeting up with some of her other sex friends. The problem is, even though Goto is passionate and has some insane stamina, he's not very skilled. Agawa encourages him to have sex with other girls and gain some skill, and at first, Goto is interested in the idea. After all, having multiple sexual partners is a dream most men have had at one time or another. But after thinking about it, that's not what he wants. He's only interested in Agawa. But Agawa's worried about whether or not she can keep up with Goto. This goes back and forth for several chapters, but no matter what she tries, Agawa is unable to find a new sex friend to help train Goto. And even when he tries to say he doesn't want anyone but her, she stops him. Agawa doesn't want to hear a confession from him. Eventually, she does find someone. The biggest slut at school, her big sister, the student council president. But at the last minute, Agawa pulls away. Never mind, One-chan, don't worry about it. But the president is curious and follows afterwards. The president volunteers to be Goto's sex friend. In fact, she's so confident in her skills that he may forget all about Agawa. And here's where we start to see the reverse NTR. For several chapters, Agawa's friends have warned Goto over and over again not to hurt her, and he's been worried that he has hurt her. In fact, she's had trouble walking, but it wasn't physical pain they were worried about. Sometimes you get sore after sex. It is exercise after all. But they meant emotionally. Agawa has been with a lot of boys, but every single one of them has been taken from her by her sister. Fortunately, none of the boys were her boyfriend. In fact, Agawa has never once had a boyfriend, despite having numerous sexual partners. she's never had the chance to develop feelings for any boy other than lust. And along comes her sister to snatch up another boy. Ogawa leaves them alone to do the deed, but Goto doesn't want to. He thinks up a plan to get out of his current situation and convinces the president that they should have a threesome with Ogawa. The two of them run off and snatch up Ogawa, disappearing from the school. But then, when given the opportunity to sleep with another girl, Goto realizes he doesn't want to. It doesn't matter how hot or how skilled she is. He's in love with Ogawa. This causes Ogawa to melt. Later on, Goto reports back to Ogawa's friends, and they are very happy with what he did. The fact that he turned down the president mid-threesome is unheard of. No one has ever been able to resist the president. Maybe, just maybe, this nerdy little loser will make their friend happy. But those who know Ogawa can see that most of her smiles are fake. However, someone who was constantly being NTR'd by her own sister found a boy who is loyal and likes her. So who knows what the future will bring for this young pair. Now, on the cover of this manga, even though it is mostly in Japanese, you can still clearly see the words NTR. In the first few pages, Goto comes across Ogawa having sex. But as I said earlier, a big part of NTR is both enjoying it and being ashamed by the fact that you enjoy it. Goto accepts Ogawa as a slut. He doesn't mind how many people she's had sex with. So it's not Goto who's been NTR'd. Now, if you skipped ahead to this part of the video, you'll be wondering who got NTR'd. Don't worry. Go read the series and then come back and comment. Trust me, I think you'll like it. Even if you don't normally enjoy NTR, this one is wholesome. Mostly. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to Murder to Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits at gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. There are several tiers to choose from. You can pick an anime or manga for me to do a video about, or you can join our monthly manga club. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Danny, Muffins, Marcus, Squishy, Brett, Roxy, Sean, Pob Zombie, Mark, Borgie, Nazwin, Pedro, Midge, Detroff, Alix, Alex, Julio, Michael, Valeri, Kanga, Ignis, RJ, and Jay. You guys are awesome. I post new anime or manga videos often, or you can click here to watch additional videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Musings by Danon.